He will not force
Ladies and gentlemen, as Vice-Chancellor of the University of Oxford, it is my pleasure to welcome you this afternoon and to greet some very special guests. Chief among them, the First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama. It is a real honor to have you with us today. And no less welcome are our guests from the Elizabeth Garrett Anderson Language College in North London, who have been getting a taste of, and let's hope even a taste for, Oxford during the day today. It's wonderful to have you with us as well today. Because Oxford is a place where dreams can come true, not by magic, despite all of the Harry Potter associations of this room, but by something even more potent, the transformational power of education. At Oxford, we offer some of the best educational opportunities anywhere in the world, and it is our mission to ensure that we offer those opportunities to those young people, regardless of background, best able to take advantage of them. I know this is a cause dear to your heart, Mrs. Obama, and not only in your capacity as First Lady. So we look forward greatly to hearing your thoughts and those of our other guests this afternoon. Thank you.
Vice-Chancellor of this university for that very kind introduction and for hosting us all here today. And thanks to Professor Hamilton and to the Dean of Christ Church College, the very Reverend Christopher Lewis, also for hosting us as well today. I also want to recognize Joe Dibb, Joe, who has just been so terrific, just such a wonderful example of what leadership can mean. She's the head of the school at the Elizabeth Garrett Anderson. We're losing a mic. For her leadership, does that work better? for her leadership and for joining us here today. And I want to thank the Oxford students as well who've served as mentors today. Thank you for your time. Thank you for making all of us feel so welcome, for looking after these beautiful young women, and thank you for your hard work and effort. But most of all, I want to recognize these brilliant young women from the Elizabeth Garrett Anderson School. My visit to your school 2 years ago, and some of you weren't there when I came, correct? That was my first solo international event as First Lady. Truly, that was the first time I went off all by myself as First Lady. And from the minute that I walked into the door of your school, I knew I had come to a very special place. It was clear to me that you all were so very special. I was blown away by your talent. You all put on a performance for me at the drop of the hat, and I understand you didn't even really know I was coming, but you put on such a performance. And I was also impressed with your achievements. I was inspired by your passion and your energy. And I felt this strong sense of connection with all of you, because in your stories, I saw so much of my own story, So I knew that the next time I came to the United Kingdom, I wanted to visit with all of the students again. And I knew that I wanted to visit with all of you in a place like this. Look around. I mean, just look at this, a renowned university that has trained so many of the world's brightest minds and greatest leaders. And I'm not the only one who's excited to see you all here today. Students and faculty at this university were eager to visit with you all as well. And there's a reason for that. It's because all of us, and it's important for you to know that all of us believe that you belong here, that this is a place for you as well. We passionately believe that you have the talent within you, you have the drive, you have the experience to succeed here at Oxford and at universities just like it across the country and across the world. Because you attend a school that has been labeled outstanding, a school that's preparing you for whatever course of study that you might choose. I know that you spend each day with girls from many different countries who speak 59 different languages in your school. So you're already learning how to fit in to a university like Oxford, which has students from more than 140 different countries. And finally, by overcoming challenges in your lives, by adjusting to a new culture and learning a new language, many of you enduring hardships in your own families. Through those experiences, you have gained strength, courage, and maturity that is far beyond your years. And those qualities will help you succeed in school and in life. So in other words, all of us who brought you here today, don't just think that universities have a lot to offer you. We believe that you all have a lot to offer these universities. Your talent, your passion, your unique life experiences, and we very much want you to believe that's true as well. And I know that from my own experience, that can be hard sometimes. And I remember back when I was your age, trying to decide which schools that I would apply to, and I remember how well-meaning but misguided people sometimes question whether someone with my background could succeed at an elite university. And when I was accepted at one of those universities, I had all kinds of worries and fears and doubts before I entered. I worried that I wouldn't be as well prepared as students who had come from more privileged families. I worried that I wouldn't fit in somewhere so different from where I'd grown up, or with people whose backgrounds were so different from mine. But after a few months in college, away from home on my own, I realized that I was just as capable and I had just as much to offer any of my classmates. I realized that if I worked hard enough, I could do just as well as anyone else. I realized that success is not about the background you're from. It's about the confidence that you have and the effort you're willing to invest. Clarissa here knows that as well. She's one of our mentors here today. Where's Clarissa? There she is. And she's also a graduate of the Elizabeth Garrett Anderson School. And she's going to be sharing a story in a minute, but I want to give you a little preview because I'm worried that she'll be too modest to tell you about all her achievements. Clarissa, I understand, was a star student at Elizabeth Garrett Anderson with outstanding test scores, and she's now reading English literature language here at Oxford. She also somehow finds time here to be an award-winning poet. She serves as president of the Oxford Poetry Society, and she's one of only 7 young editors currently working for a major international publishing company. So if any of you ever start to doubt yourselves, I want you to remember Clarissa's story, if mine somehow doesn't resonate. I want you to remember that she started out just like all of you. And I want you to know that you have everything you need to succeed at a place like this. You just have to work hard. That's it. You have to push yourselves. That's the only thing. This does not come easy for anyone. Everyone here, regardless of their background, got here because they worked hard. And you stay here because you work hard. But more importantly, you have to believe in yourself. You have to mentally believe that you can be here. You have to paint that picture for yourself. And most of all, when you eventually get to a place like Oxford, I want every last one of you to reach back and to help others get here too. That's one of the reasons why I'm here. Reaching back, even as First Lady of the United States, making sure that other young girls get the same opportunities that I had. Maybe that means mentoring or tutoring young people in your community. Or maybe it means keeping in touch with students at Elizabeth Garrett Anderson and helping them with their university applications. Because many kids don't have the experience to even apply. And the one thing is that you don't have to wait until you've made it yourself. You don't have to wait until you're big time. You can start the minute that you get back to school. Because for every one of you here, there's someone else from your school who could be here, who won't have this opportunity. So I want you to tell your classmates about the people that you met here today, about the classes you attended here, and I want you to get them all inspired and excited about what you've seen here today. You all have so much to offer. You have to believe that, and I look forward to seeing all of you fulfill whatever dreams you have, and I know they're big. So I want to see you all in the future, visiting me somewhere around the world, doing great things. So with that, I'm eager to hear from you all about what you saw and learned today, and then we can talk and talk and talk until they yank me out of here. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Joe Dibb, who's going to take us through. So congratulations, you all. We're very proud.
Mrs. Obama, we can share that. Thank you so much, not just for today, but for what you did for our school when you visited us in 2009. You said perhaps your words didn't resonate, but they certainly did, and all the girls here would tell you that you're still a very, very important part of our school's history. So important that I've actually said to the girls back at school, so they can be part of it, that their teachers can show this on television during their lessons. So you can see how important that is. I've let them off their learning for a while because we really think this will be far more important. The words that you said then continue to inspire us. They really do. The girls still talk about it. And we are just so grateful that you've followed our progress, you've shared our successes, and that what you've done is you've exemplified your commitment to making sure that a young person's background does not determine her future. And by giving up time again today, that's real testimony to the effort you're putting into that and helping us in what is the core mission of the school. So thank you so much for that. I'd also like, before I introduce Clarissa formally, is to thank the Vice-Chancellor and all the staff at the university and all the mentors who have done such a fantastic job and made it so easy for us, much easier for when you came to the school 2 years ago. They've had all to put up with all of that, so thank you so much to everybody at the university. I think after the experience today, the staff may well be getting lots of applications from EGA students. And I'm sure that you'll look very favourably on them. And I'm absolutely sure, too, that if they continue to show their commitment to learning and achieve so highly, that lots of them will be very, very successful in those applications. And we have a student here today who's done just that, who was successful. And it's my pleasure to introduce Clarissa. Clarissa was a student at EGA from 2002 to 2007, and she was even then a remarkable young woman. And she had a real passion for both philosophy and for poetry, and it's great to know that she's continued to foster and nurture those talents. She was also a gifted pianist, and I think had lots of opportunities to perform while at EGA. She went on to achieve outstanding results, is now a student reading English here at Oxford. Clarissa, I'm delighted to see you. I'm also incredibly proud to be introducing you to speak here this afternoon. So over to you, Clarissa.
Thank you, Mrs. Obama. Thank you, Miss Dibb. Thanks to the White House. As an ex-EJ student and a current Oxford student, I'd like to extend my gratitude to all of you for making this amazing afternoon possible. I graduated from EGA in 2007 and went on to study English literature, maths, philosophy, and physics at A-level. I'm now a second-year undergraduate of English language and literature at Oxford. It was both my father and my English teacher, Mr. Silver, who got me enthused about language and literature. And because of this, most of the things I've done since I've left EGA have been about language and literature. So on the one hand, I wouldn't be the person I am today were it not for people like my parents and my teachers. But on the other hand, I wouldn't be that person either if I hadn't have found my own interests. And this is what I want to talk about to you. In 2008, I was selected to be on the New Views panel for the National Theatre, and I also won the Roundhouse Theatre's Annual Poetry Prize, and I've since gone on to become part of the Barbican Young Poets alumni. Whilst in my last year of A-levels, I was selected to be a judge on the Orange Prize for Fiction Award 2009, which is an international writers' prize for women, and it was a real inspiration for me because the founder of the prize is a really inspirational woman, and also because the prize, like EGA, celebrates the achievements of different kinds of women and their experience through the art of writing. And writing and the arts have always been very important to me. And in a recent workshop at the White House, the First Lady commented on how the arts can complement education, and this is something I completely believe in. And so for the past 3 years, I've worked on an editorial board for Penguin Publisher as a young editor to help foster young people's interests in writing and reading. As the current president of the Oxford University Poetry Society, this year I've organised events for the likes of former poet laureate Sir Andrew Motion and the African-American poet Saul Williams. But I never planned any of this. I was never one of those people who, always wrote poetry. It was just that I tried it out. It was something I found I enjoyed and that I could be good at if I worked hard. And this is what it's about. It's about putting yourself in situations where you can find out what it is exactly you're good at. Because it's not just about exams. When you come to a place like Oxford or, into higher education, academically speaking, everyone is pretty much on the same level. So, you can learn how to be good at exams and you can learn how to get on that level. I was talking to some of you and you're like, oh, I can't apply because I don't have the grades. You're so young, there's loads of time. And this is where it starts. It starts now. So it's not just about exams. But I also think it's about finding what you're interested in. It's about trying something else as well in that area because it might turn out you're actually better at that thing than you thought you were. So, I hear lots of people saying, they want to be musicians, but why don't you want to be a music producer or or manage musicians as young women? There's so much opportunities for you. People say, they want to be doctors. Today you've been hearing talks about physics and black holes and quantum mechanics. There are a lack of female physicists in the world, and you have an opportunity to fill the gap. So as young women, I think living in the 21st century, you must be able to deconstruct what labels are given to you, what people say to you. Don't accept anything. Construct your own image. And, once you do this and you have the confidence and you believe in yourself, you can do anything you want to do. And also, you guys, you live in London, you have Oyster cards, you can get to places, so you don't have any excuses. You can do anything you want to do. The world is your oyster. And I think Beyonce did say quite rightly and quite recently, who runs the world? Girls.
Okay, we've got my own, that's fine. My next job then is to introduce Silan, who's just going to talk a little bit about what's been happening this morning. So Silan.
Hello. First of all, on behalf of the whole of UGA, I would like to thank everybody who has made this day possible, Oxford University, and of course Mrs. Obama for her continued interest in our school. Thank you so much. At the start of the day, we was asked to consider this question: what do you want to be the First Lady in? We have been inspired by the presentation from 4 women, all of which have achieved without limits in their own respective fields: anthropology, biology, physics, and art. For me, this day has really crystallized my ambitions to become a successful doctor in the future. We learnt about the Black Indians and how their cultural artifacts are vital in their sense of identity. We were all given a piece of Angela Palmer's Ghost Forest, which will serve as a permanent reminder of our precious experiences of today. We were also asked to pass one on to Mrs. Obama, which you can pick up later. Okay. Today's whole experience has reinforced our belief that with hard work and with inspiration, we can all achieve without limits.
Thank you, Silan. Do you have your question handy? Do you have your question handy? Would you like to ask your question while everybody else is looking for theirs?
Okay. We waited for many years for the first Black president. Considering how far women have come, how long do you think it will take before we have the first female president?
Excellent question. I think we're there. I think that the United States, I think many countries around the world are ready. So now the challenge is our preparation as women and our desire and willingness to step up and grab that ring. Because we're at a time when so many people just want good leadership. They want people, number one, who have good character, who are open, who are especially young people, because you all see the world in such broader terms, particularly students at Oxford, students who get to travel and experience the world. Their limits just continue to expand. So our job as women is to envision ourselves as leaders and then to prepare and be ready for a good fight and a good battle. Because one thing about our success is that no one feels sorry or is going to take it easy on us, right? Hillary Clinton is a fabulous leader. My husband had a formidable opponent in her in the primaries. She is a phenomenal Secretary of State. We have examples of outstanding women like her in leadership all over the world. So it's completely there. The question is, are we ready? Are we as young women, are we ready to take that responsibility on and go after it and take the risk that go with stepping out there and being judged? And I think sometimes as women, we can step back, but we can start pushing ourselves now, so.
Shall we have the next question from Christina?
Yeah, my name's Christina, and I'm 13 years old, and I'm from London. My question is, how is it different in raising your children now in the White House than before?
That's a good question. There are a lot more cameras. My philosophy about mothering and how I feel about being a mother hasn't changed. That doesn't change with the house you live in, the job that you have. Truly, I call myself mom in chief. It's not because I don't value career or my education. I am glad that I have the education that I do. I'm glad I have the accomplishments that I have. But truly, the most important thing to me is raising strong women and raising my daughters well, probably because that's what my mother did for me. So I think that is the most important job that I will ever have, and it doesn't really matter where we live. But my husband and I, the president, were very protective to make sure they get privacy and normalcy. But we push them just like we would at any time. Our girls have responsibilities. We want to make sure they don't take anything for granted, that they're grateful. The things I tell my girls are the same things I tell all of you. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to take risks. Learn to use your voice now. Ask questions. Ask stupid questions. Be laughed at. Get it wrong. Trip, fall, and then get back up. Do your homework. Do chores. Have responsibilities, because what I tell my kids, you have to practice who you want to be. You know, you don't wake up one morning and you're suddenly who you think you want to be. You have to put some energy into it. So if you want to be an honest person, you have to be an honest person every day, even starting at 3 and 4 and 5, right? If you're going to be a hard worker doesn't just appear. You have to practice hard work. You have to practice effort. And I also encourage them and try to help them understand that good things don't come easy. With that effort, that's where you grow. That's where growth is. Some of the best times in my life when I've grown, it's when I've done something hard, when I've overcome a fear. You don't realize that when you're doing it, but when you come out on the other side, you realize, wow, I've really stepped up. So I push my girls, but more importantly, I love them a lot. And that's what I feel for all of you. I want you guys to feel that in your lives so that you can be excellent, okay? So it's no different, all right?
Shall we have the next question from Yasmin?
Hi, my name is Yasmin. I'm 14. I'm from London. My question is, as the First Lady of America, how do you feel? How do you help others around the world?
Say the last.
Oh, how do you help others around the world?
How do I help others around the world? Well, I think sessions like this, I'm hoping that it helps others around the world. Mentoring young people around the world, not just in the United States, is a significant part of what my husband and I believe we should be doing. Giving all kids a chance to have some level of excellence and opportunity in their lives. And we've started doing mentoring. One of the things I mentioned in my remarks is that it is so important, no matter where you are in your life, to think about how you're helping those behind you, those younger than you, come up. And that's just not an American notion. That's what we need to be doing around the world. So mentoring is a big part of what gives us joy and pleasure and makes us feel accomplished. Because it's not enough for us to just sit in our success and advantage if we're not doing everything we can as often as possible to bring others up. And I believe that's especially true for women around the world, women and young girls. So these messages of hope and possibility and education and leadership and service and talking about that and shining these bright lights on models of that, you know. I want the world to see you all, because there's going to be a set of girls looking at this, reading about this day. And even if they didn't get to be here, they're somewhere, maybe in a small village or in a city somewhere. They're going to see you, and they're going to feel some sense of possibility. Even if they're struggling or they're challenged, my hope is that your stories resonate, because they can. Don't believe that this experience doesn't matter to somebody beyond yourself. It can resonate here in the UK, and it can resonate around the world. So that's a part of what we're trying to do. But we need your help. So we need you to be ready. We need more mentors. We may need more young women pushing these doors open and getting into schools like this and other places. I mean, Oxford is one of the most renowned universities, but there are outstanding universities and colleges that people haven't even heard of that provide an excellent education. So we're pushing you to dream big, because if you can see yourself here in Oxford, then you can see yourself anywhere, right? But, you know, don't feel like this is the only place to go. You have to get an education. You must get an education. You must be smart. You must be prepared. And that can happen anywhere. That can happen in community colleges, in small universities, in small cities. So that can happen anywhere. And so those are some of the messages that we're trying to push for on an international scale. But we need you guys to be ready. All right? You gonna be ready? Okay.
Thank you. Seren, are you ready to ask your question?
I'm Seren. I'm 13 years old. My question is, when you first met the president, did you think that he would go on to achieve such great things?
Absolutely not. No, I'm just kidding. You know, that's the thing about visioning. So honestly, when I met him, I knew he was special. You know, I'm sharing secrets now, so we have to pretend like none of these people are here, because they're writing it all down. I knew he was a special person. And it had nothing to do with his education. It had nothing to do with his potential. And I say this to young women, don't check off. There are a lot of women who have the boxes. Did he go to the right school? What is his income? You know, it was none of that. It was how he felt about his mother. The love that he felt for his mother, his relationship to women, his work ethic. We worked together in a firm. He did his work, and he was good, and he was smart, and I like that. And he was low key, and he wasn't impressed with himself. And he was funny, and we joked a lot. And he loved his little sister. Those are the things, and he was a community organizer. I really respected that. Here we are in a big law firm, right? And everybody was pushing to make money. He was one of the smartest students at Harvard Law School, one of the smartest associates in our firm. He had the chance to clerk for the Supreme Court. And I thought, well, you're definitely going to do that, right? Only a few people even have the chance to do that. And he was like, not really. And I think I can do more work working with folks in churches. And I was like, whoa, that's different. And he meant it. It wasn't a line. He wasn't trying to impress me. It was those kind of values that made me think, you don't meet people like that often. And when you couple that with talent, and he's cute, you know, I always thought he would be useful. But I had no idea he would be president. I didn't think he was going to be president until the night we were standing on the stage, and he actually won. And I was like, God, look, you won. But the lesson, particularly, I think, for women in this is reach for partners that make you better. You know, do not bring people in your life who weigh you down, and trust your instincts. You know, good relationships feel good. They feel right. They don't hurt. They're not painful. And that's not just with somebody you want to marry, but it's with the friends that you choose. It's with the people you surround yourselves with. And that's just as important as the school that you choose. Who's in your life? And do you respect them? And do they respect you? And are you respecting them? Right? And we as women in particular, and this is such an important message, starting today, you all have to be supportive of each other. You know, you can't be jealous and push and trip. You know, it's hard enough. So in your lives now, whether you like somebody because of whatever, be kind to each other. Support each other. There's room for everyone to succeed. And that has to start in your lives now, right? So I think that's a key message for us as women. And if we do it to one another, then we'll do it in the rest of the world, is draw goodness to you. And that will help propel you. And I was fortunate to choose a good husband. But that goes for friendships as well. Does that make sense?
Okay, thank you. Mary, are you ready?
There we go, right behind. Hello, my name's Mary and I'm 14 years old. And my question is, during your studies, did you ever suffer from low self-esteem? And if so, that you are the first lady, who helped you the most?
What helped me the most?
Who helped you?
Low self-esteem, doubt. Yeah, I talked about that. Because I wasn't sure, because other people told me that I might not be able to do well in school for whatever reason. I was always a good student. I worked hard, but I thought there was some magic that happened that made you really, I didn't know that it was just plain old hard work. So there were periods of doubt for sure. I think I have doubts today. Doubts don't go away. You just learn how to deal with them. You start knowing yourself and you become more confident. The more successes you have, the more chances you take, you don't let the failures or the stumbles define you. You know, everybody falls every now and then. Some people fall a lot. And what I realize is that we have long lives if we're healthy and we do what we're supposed to do. I'm 47 years old. So think about it. Whatever mistake I made when I was 13, who cares? So think about life as a long trajectory. But at the same time, you don't want to make huge mistakes, because when you're young, making big mistakes can last forever, right? So you want to choose wisely. But the stumbles, the lessons learned, that's part of life that makes you grow. But I came to know that. I didn't know that when I was your age. I thought every mistake was the end of the world. I'll never get into school. I'll never be, of course, we all feel that way. But just continue to work, put the effort in. And I think that has been some of what's helped me being First Lady. First of all is knowing who you are and being confident in yourself, because there'll be, Clarissa, what did you say, pushing beyond other people's labels of you, right? That's a big part. That's what we do to each other all the time. We don't even know each other, and we already determine from one glance, meeting, one line, one word, one phrase, this is who you are. So you have to know who you are before that. And you live that reality, and you keep living it out no matter what. And if you're have good character and good intentions, that ultimately shines through. But in the end, it's hard work. And I like to work hard, and I like to do good things. And you practice that now. And believe it or not, I didn't know it. It prepared me to be the First Lady of the United States. I didn't know. I guess I'm doing okay. But you know what? Every day we just get up and keep doing what we think is the right thing, right? Thanks.
Should we have Anisa next?
Oh, thank you. Hello, my name is Anita Siddiki. What do your children want to be when they grow up? Because I know that you're the First Lady. Do they aspire to be as high as that?
The one thing about your children is they never want to be like you. They want to be the opposite of you. But the truth is, they now know that they have no idea what they want to be. I think Malia tried to answer. Somebody asked her that question, and she started to answer. She gave 5 answers. This is when she was 11. And then she finally said, I don't know. I'm 11. And you might say that for a very long time, but fortunately, they understand they don't know what they want to be. But they know they aspire to go to great schools. That's what they're starting to do now. I don't think they understand. Malia understands a little bit more than Sasha, but again, my kids see the possibilities, so they aspire to the best, right? That's what we want you all to do, because they're no different from you. It's just they've set their bar really high already. But what they do know is that with that high bar, that means you got to work even harder. And you've got to be okay with working harder. And that means you're going to stumble a little bit. There's one thing I have to convince one of my children of is, it's not about getting the A. Now, Joe, don't fall over. It's not always about getting the A. It's about learning, and it's about loving learning, right? And sometimes the A won't come because you take a course that pushes you, right? And it's going to be hard, and you're going to, again, stumble a little bit. But if you always just go for the grade, sometimes you'll bypass what's interesting because you might not get a good grade in it, right? And I don't want you all to start doing that too early. Read, write, read. If the president were here, one of his greatest strengths is reading. That's one of the reasons why he's a good communicator, why he's such a good writer. He's a voracious reader. So we're trying to get our girls, no matter what, to love reading and to challenge themselves with what they read, and not just read the gossip books, but to push themselves beyond and do things that maybe they wouldn't do. So I would encourage you all to read. Just keep reading. And writing is another skill. It's practice. The more you write, the better you get. Drafts. Our kids are learning. The first draft means nothing. You're going to do 7, 10 drafts. That's writing. It's not failure. It's not the teacher not liking you because it's all marked up in red. When you get to be a good writer, you mark your own stuff in red, and you rewrite, and you rewrite, and you rewrite. That's what writing is. And if you come out with those skills, and then you're confident, and you can articulate, and you can stand up straight and look anybody in the eye and say, this is who I am, it's a pleasure to meet you. That's one of the things we try to do with our mentoring program with young girls. My message to them is if you can walk into the White House and meet the First Lady and say, my name is, how are you, and look me in the eye, then there's nothing you can't do. That's why it's important. If you guys walked here, are sitting here in front of all these people, standing tall, asking questions, using your voice, you have to practice that. These arenas just show up again and again, and then you just get used to it. The nerves go away, and you start relaxing into your own abilities. But it's practice. That makes sense. So that's what my girls, we're working on that. That's baseline stuff. They get that stuff down, and then whatever they want to be, it really doesn't matter. They'll just be good at it, right? Whatever they do, they'll be passionate about it, and they'll be good at it.
I think we've got time for just one more question and a very quick answer, I believe. So have we got BC?
Hi, I'm Bissy. One question that's like I want to know is what's life like on a daily basis?
Life on a daily basis. Sometimes look, I'm here. Yesterday, we slept in Buckingham Palace. We had a state dinner with the Queen. Friday, I'll go home and go to soccer and look over homework. It can range from very mundane and normal to, my God, who could have ever have dreamed? That's what life is like in the White House. But it is exciting, and it is a privilege, mostly because I get to meet you guys. And I do, want you to understand that for people like us, moving you all to a better place is the only reason we do this. The dresses, the cars, the horses, the carriages, I can watch that on TV. But moving you guys and pushing you to see more for yourselves is all that matters. So if the White House lets me do that, we can use it and we can open it up and invite kids in. And we had a poetry session, and we invited young kids in just last week from all over the country. And they talked to some of the most outstanding poets, and they read their poetry in the stateroom. And then we had a poetry night, and Common was there. He's very cute. But everybody from poet laureates to hip-hop folks, right? It's like being able to mix up the world in that interesting way. The White House allows you to do that, and it's fun to watch, and it's fun to have the opportunity to do that. So, otherwise, it's kind of cool.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an absolutely marvelous session, and I want to thank everyone who's made it possible. I'd like to thank the Dean of Christ Church for making this magical room available to us. I'd like to thank Joe Dibbs and all of the students from Elizabeth Garrett Anderson for your sparkling contributions this afternoon. Let me also thank the student mentors and Clarissa for your contributions. Student mentors, I passed on those Oxford sweatshirts, so let's hope we'll see them in the White House. And most particularly, I'd like to thank you, Mrs. Obama, for gracing us with your presence this afternoon. It's been a wonderful afternoon. We hope you will come back to Oxford soon, and please feel free to bring the family. Thank you. Please, would you all join me in thanking Mrs. Obama?